Today, we're diving into a topic that every carpet cleaning business owner needs to nail down: how to track, measure, and quantify your online marketing plan. Too often, companies throw money into ads, SEO, and social media without a clear picture of what's actually working. And to deal with that issue today and to talk about it, we're pleased to welcome a regular guest, John Clendenning with Carpet Cleaner Marketing Masters. John, do you know anything about throwing money after ads?
Oh gosh, yeah, 30 years of running cleaning businesses and kind of being a newbie until you kind of cut your teeth.
I
Not only
know.
throwing money after, but wasting money after it too. So
Well, thank you for giving up some time today to talk about this because that's what business owners do. At some point in their career, they're probably
Yep.
throwing money away. What they need to do is know what's working, what's not, and then adjust to that. So
Yep.
we're at the last chapter of your book. Maybe I shouldn't say this. You're writing another book, I think. So,
Yep.
so
Yep.
that's coming out. But talk about this. Talk about the track, measure, and quantify in the last chapter and what our viewers need to know about.
Yeah, so we talked about this in March 2025, depending on when you're listening to this, the 2-day virtual intensive. You marketing first, because that's how you get jobs, get the phone to ring, and you create an operations problem. And then we had Nate Sisney and those guys on chatting about, well, okay, now you got an operations problem. How do you solve that? And once you get that, you have a data problem. You have like now you need to refine and finance and data. And that's what we're talking about here is as we grow up and mature in business, we got to get our big boy pants on and start tracking stuff. So, on a very low level, say for example, SEO, you want to know. I always talk about it. It's probably the world's worst analogy. I'm terrible at analogies, but think of SEO as a paraplegic. Back in the day, you would lie there in the bed, your back was broken, that was the end of it. Then they started coming up with the data where you can see like you can't see your toe wiggle, but on the screen there's a motion. And then eventually days and days of that, the toe wiggles, then the foot wiggles, and then next thing you know, you're doing rehab. Then you walk out of the hospital, 10 months later, a year later, everybody's cheering down the hallway. And then eventually maybe you run a race, right? And there was your rehab visit. Data's like that. You want to see the signals that are sending you in the right direction. So in SEO, you want to make sure that you're getting more traffic to your website. You're ranking for more keywords. So things like Google Analytics, knowing how to kind of take a look into those, or if you're working with a vendor, making sure they're sharing with you. Are things generally going up and to the right? Are you improving over time? And then it eventually becomes to the question, okay, now those improvements, are they quantified in more phone calls and then more jobs?
So let's talk about mistakes they might be making as they do
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you see business owners making when it comes to measuring all of this? And toss in what you think they should really focus on.
Yeah, so good questions. So as far as mistakes, there's sort of mistakes on two sides. On the side, I don't do anything, I don't measure, I hope and pray marketing. They don't know, oh, the leads are terrible. Are the leads terrible, or is your booking percentage bad because you've got bad scripts and or you're not answering the phone or things like that? Once you know all the pieces of data, you can say, okay, this source, this magazine, this website, this Google Ads is generating this much traffic. I can convert at 40%. This traffic, I can only convert this at 30. Now you can quantify traffic and stuff like that. So not wanting to do any of it is always one problem. The other side of it is being so myopic that, every single marketing source has to be in its own lane in its own bucket and not understanding that maybe about 10 per 15% of your marketing budget should be that brand awareness that and reputation that manages everything, that maybe you almost don't need to track it, but it helps lift the rising tide lifts all ships. So there's kind of the two sides. You got to be sweet spot somewhere in the middle saying, hey, I've got some stuff out there, my door hangers, my yard signs, my vans, my technicians that help, that there's a spend that helps elevate everything. And then those individual things, that you want return on investment on, are you tracking them individually with call tracking numbers and QR codes and all of those things in our modern world now where we can really dial in, is this working over that?
Last question I have is predictions. So
Yep.
I know you're an AI guy, you're a tech guy.
Hmm.
What do you see not just now, but coming up? Things you might be using now that are just going to get better and make all of this easier because I got to tell you, John, people watching this program, I mean, they want to clean
Yep.
carpet, they want to run a business. They may not want to do all this tech stuff, but we got to do it. Talk about that.
Yeah.
What do you see coming?
That's the cool part because AI is the great equalizer. So the companies that were doing all of this were running circles around you and you didn't notice it. Hey, why is that guy got 10 trucks on the road? Or why is he 3 trucks on the road and his average job's $800 and I'm still 199, right? Part of that's data, good marketing, good data, understanding and iterating. So nowadays you can take your Google Analytics data, drop it into chat GPT and say, I have no clue what this is telling me. Walk me through it. And just have that conversation. Like, you don't have to be smart. Just chat back and forth. All the tools like House Call Pros and Service Monsters and all the CRMs are adding more and more of these, sort of like use AI and data to help sort of give you better insights and stuff like that. So make sure you keep up on those and plug into all of that as well so that it's just faster and easier. You have to be less of the techie and more of the strategist and the director of all of it. But that's a much faster time savings than having to figure out how to manipulate the data first before you even read it.